Hey friends, this is Dalton from Deep Wells Media. Today we got a little editing video for you. Last week we posted a video where Hannah issued me a product photography challenge where I only had $30 to spend to make a product photo for a deck of cards. And as we were making that video, we realized that the editing portion of it was going to take way too long and make that video like 30 minutes long. So today I just wanted to show you a little look at my editing process for the photos that I took. And so without further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, so here we are. We got this photo that we're looking at. We got these cards in here, and it looks like one thing is for certain, it's a bit underexposed. I think the 60 Mark II has a little bit of a challenge with the LCD screen. It always shows a little bit brighter, and I made the mistake of trusting it. So we're gonna go ahead and start this edit here. And I think first thing we're going to do is we're going to go down to, obviously, remove chromatic aberration and enable profile corrections because we just want it to be not distorted. No fisheye, no weird curvy lines. And so then, next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through the top and I'm just going to start messing with what I normally mess with. So this is kind of my process and obviously different for a lot of people, but first thing I'm going to bring up the whites because I see that we have a lot of room here for the whites to go up. So I'm going to bring it up quite a bit, not that far, but right around here. This one starts looking a little unnatural in my opinion, so we're gonna maybe bump it down just a little bit. So 50 sounds about good. And then I don't think we really have much room to go with the blacks to go down, so we'll leave those for now. And then we'll bump up some highlights as well. Shadows. Can't decide. I think bumping it up looks a little bit nicer, but I'm actually gonna go down just a little bit to keep that contrast, and we'll just add a tiny bit here. Okay, so looking a little bit good. I want this red to be a little bit brighter, so we're gonna go down here to the hue, saturation, and luminance. So I'm gonna just up the saturation a little bit on the red and the orange for the fire. Not a ton, but also going to brighten up this red using the luminance slider for red, just so we can get it a little bit brighter. And then we're going to also use the hue to change it. It looks a little purpley in my opinion right now, so we're going to get a little closer to orange. All right, so next I think this mug right here looks a little bit blue. I want that to be more green, so we're going to slide these blue and this aqua over to get it to more of a natural color. It also gives this a little bit of that contrast, because one thing I did not get in this image was that contrast in colors. I didn't get as much green in here as I was hoping for. As you saw, those green kind of pillowcases ended up pretty low underneath all this other stuff, so it didn't end up coming in when I took a photo in this tight. I think this is looking okay for now. Let's add a little bit of textures for fun. Maybe just a little bit of clarity. Don't want to go too heavy on that. And then up the vibrance, see what that looks like. Add a little color. And just decrease the saturation. That's a tip I heard a long time ago when I was first starting out. It's like if you can increase the vibrance and then lower the saturation a little bit. I don't really know why that works, but it seems to. I kind of like the way that looks. So we're just gonna try that right around there. Looking a little bit dull, so I'm gonna try and maybe get a little bit of orange in here, or maybe not. I don't know what I want. It's hard telling. Yeah, okay, yeah, there we go. I like that orange a little bit more. I like to do a lot of color grading up here in just the basic tab. It's basic, but hey, it works. And then we'll add just a tiny bit more green. Just get a little bit more color contrast. So let's get, that didn't go much at all, did I? So we'll go right about there. See how this is looking. Looking all right, not too bad. It's a little green, so I think one thing I want to do in this color grade section is I want to actually add a little bit of orange to the shadows and the midtones, but not too much. I don't want to look too red here. So we'll try to get this a little bit blended in. So just touch with the blending and balance, and this is just kind of something you have to feel out a little bit. Take a look at it. Is it doing too much? Is it doing too little? This is just to taste. So I think this is looking pretty good. I think it doesn't look too, I think it looks pretty natural. I like the way it looks, so I'm gonna go with it. For this photo, actually, I really like the sharpness of it in camera. I think the Venture Onward and Live Adventurously and the whole tent illustration, along with some of these other things like the texture of the burlap and the hearts on this other card here. I really like how sharp those are, so I'm actually gonna remove all the sharpening here. And so then what I will do is I'll do a little bit of noise reduction, and kind of how I'm doing this is I'm just looking over here at this section here, and I want it to just kind of look like there's no noise. So I'm gonna smooth it out a little bit with the luminance and the detail and the contrast. Just kind of try and make it look okay in there. So don't want to go too much, make it dull, but kind of like the way this is looking. It's looking nice and smooth. Come on down here we'll add a little bit of vignette to it. I like doing that on some of these kind of photos just to give it a little bit more pop, kind of get the edges out a little bit more. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of grain because I think Bradley Mountain has a nice kind of gritty texture to it. So I like adding some grain and just kind of seeing how that impacts the image. So we're gonna try this here. We'll just play with it, see what we do. This is pretty stylistic at this point, so not a big deal. And then down here we can mess with some of these primaries. I don't usually do a whole lot with these, but we can play and see. So kind of like how that's warming things up a little bit, so I'm going to go for it. The green primary, not a lot of green in here, but it's worth a shot. Messing with, ended up pretty much back to normal, so didn't help me much there. And then yeah, not bad. Take the blue down a little bit. So I think overall pretty content with this at this point. So one thing I want to do is I'm going to add just a little bit of exposures to the whole image with this curve here. I kind of like doing it this way. It just gets a little bit more smooth than lining everything up with this big thing. So I'm pretty happy with this. I think there's not a whole lot more I can do, but I'm gonna maybe lower the vignette just a little bit more, a little more punchy there. And then up here, I think one thing I want to do, this is actually something that I decided I wanted to do while I was shooting. So there's actually one other photo. I'll show it to you here. I took this with the 50mm, and you might be able to see it, but right in here, when I had it underexposed with the 50mm just the right way, I saw this nice glow from the candle onto the card. And I don't see that as much in this image. And so what I want to do is I want to actually just paint a little bit of light here to just kind of suggest that light coming from the candle. So I'm going to take a brush, make it, this is okay. I don't want it to be too crazy. So I'm just going to brush in right around here. I think you can press O, and you can kind of see where it is. It's hard because it's red, but there's an overlay right here. But I'm gonna up the exposure just a tiny bit, actually maybe more than a tiny bit. We'll see how it feels, and then I'm gonna just increase the temperature to make it really orange, kind of firelight. I'm just gonna brush it a little bit more over here, feather it out a little bit. That looks too much. This is kind of where you have to just feel it out a little bit. So you don't want it to look unnatural. So I'm just gonna play with it a little bit more, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what I got. Okay, so I think pretty happy with this. Done a little bit more playing around, and I like the way the glow is coming through, and then I just did a little more sweetening around the rest of the image. I'm pretty happy with this. I think we might be good. But just in case, I want to show you guys another photo that I edited, and we'll see what we think here. And so this one's a little wider. When I first took this picture, I thought I liked this one the best. And because this is the one where I took the knife. So part of this is post crop vignette, and some of this, there's actually a knife right up against the lens here, and you can see, just barely see this nice orange flare as it reflects the light from the candle. And I was like, oh, I nailed it. Love this picture. But unfortunately, when I brought it into Lightroom, I noticed that I just missed my focus on the words, which I was really hoping for. So close that you can like almost get away with it, but I don't know if it's gonna work for a product photo, because with product photos, you just need them to be so sharp. I added a little bit of sharpening post in Lightroom, but I'm not sure it's gonna work. So I don't know, you guys tell me what you think. If you think this photo works, if it's good enough, if it's your favorite one. I really do like this flare here, but you know, maybe you don't. So let me know what you think, if you like this one better or like this one the most. I'm going to think about this for a little bit, and then I'm going to choose one and show it to both you guys and Hannah. All right, friends, that just about does it for this week's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like it and subscribe. It really does make a difference and helps us out. If you're a brand that's in need of photography or videography for your marketing efforts, that could be social media, that could be product photos, website, whatever it is. That's something we do with Deep Wells Media. So don't hesitate to contact us via our website or any other means. We're currently offering 3 free product photos for your product. So it's really simple. Just fill out a few details, send us your product. We'll take the photos and send them to you. And then you can stand out in the crowded digital space. So what are you waiting for? Nothing to lose. There's a link below. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.